Hello and welcome. My name is Alan, and we are back with more Greek mythology. We'll be picking back up today with the story of Jason and the Argonauts on their quest for the Golden Fleece. Now, let's jump into it. Peleus gave him a soft answer. No, so shall it be. But one thing must first be done. The dead Phrixus bids us bring back the gold fleece, and thus bring back his spirit to his home. The oracle has spoken, but for me, already old age is my companion. While the flower of our youth is only now coming into full bloom, do you go upon this quest, and I swear with Zeus as witness that I will give up the kingdom and sovereign rule to you. So he spoke, believing in his heart that no one could make the attempt and come back alive. The idea of the great adventure was delightful to Jason. He agreed and let it be known everywhere that this would be a voyage indeed. The young men of Greece joyfully met the challenge. They came, all the best and noblest, to join the company. Hercules, the greatest of all heroes, was there. Orpheus, the master musician. Castor and his brother Pollux. Achilles' brother, Peleus, and another, and many other, and many another. Hera was helping Jason, and it was she who kindled in each one the desire not to be left behind, nursing a life without peril by the mother's side. But even at the price of death, to drink with his comrades the peerless elixir of valor, they set sail on the ship Argo. Jason took in his hand a golden tablet, and pouring a libation of wine into the sea, called upon Zeus, whose lance is the lightning, to speed them on their way. Great people lay before them, and some of them paid with their lives for drinking the peerless elixir. They put in first at Lemnos, a strange island where only women lived. They had risen up against men and had killed them all, except one, the old king. His daughter, um, uh, Hipsipple, a leader among women, had spared her father and set him afloat on the sea in a hollow chest, which finally carried him to safety. These fierce creatures, however, remained or welcomed the Argonauts and helped them with good gifts of food and wine and experiments before they sailed away. Soon after they left Lemnos, the Argonauts lost Hercules from the company. A lad named Hylas, his armor bearer, was very dear to him, was drawn under the water as he dipped his pitcher in a spring by a water nymph who saw the rosy flush of his beauty and wished to kiss him. She threw her arms around his neck and drew him down into the depths, and he was seen no more. Hercules sought him madly everywhere, shouting his name and plunging deeper and deeper into the forest away from the sea. He had forgotten the Fleece and the Argo and his comrades, everything except Hylas. He did not come back, and finally the ship had to sail without him. The next adventure was with the Harpies, frightful flying creatures which, with hooked beaks and claws, who always left behind them a loathsome stench, sickening to all creatures. Where the Argonauts had beached their boat for the night, lived a lonely and wretched old man, to whom Apollo, the truth teller, had given the gift of prophecy. He foretold unerringly what would happen, and this had displeased Zeus, who always liked to wrap in mystery what he would do, and very sensibly, too, in the opinion of all who knew Hera. So he indicted a terrible punishment upon the old man. Whenever he was about to dine, the Harpies, who were called the hounds of Zeus, swooped down and defiled the food, leaving it so foul that no one could bear to be near it, much less eat it. Then the Argonauts saw the poor old creature. His name was Phineus. He was like a lifeless dream, creeping on withered feet, trembling for weakness, and only the skin on his body held his bones together. He welcomed them gladly and begged them to help him. He knew through his gift of prophecy that he could be defended from the Harpies by 2 men alone, who were among the company on the Argo, the sons of Boreas, the great north wind. All listened to him with pity as the two gave him eagerly their promise to help. While the others set forth food for him, Boreas's sons took their stand beside him with drawn swords. He had hardly put a morsel to his lips when the hateful monsters darted down from the sky and in a moment had devoured everything and were flying off, leaving the intolerable odor behind them. But the wind swift sons of the north wind followed them. They caught up with them and struck at them with their swords. They would assuredly have cut them to pieces if Iris, the rainbow messenger of the gods, gliding down from the heavens, had not checked them. They must forbear to kill the hounds of Zeus, she said, but she swore by the waters of the Styx, the oath that none can break, that they would never again trouble Phineus. So the two returned gladly and comforted the old man, who in his joy sat feasting and with the heroes all through the night. He gave them wise advice, but the dangers before them, in especial about the clashing rocks, the Symplegades that rode perpetually against one another, while the sea boiled up around them. The way to pass between them, he said, was first to make trial with a dove. If she passed through safely, then the chances were that they too would get through. But if the dove were crushed, they must turn back and give up all hope of the golden fleece. The next morning they started with the dove, of course, and were soon in sight of the great rolling rocks. It seemed impossible that there could be a way between them, but they freed the dove and watched her. She flew through and came out safe. Only the tips of her tail feathers were caught between the rocks as they rode back together, and those were torn away. The heroes went after her as swiftly as they could. The rocks parted, their rowers put forth their great strength, and they too came through safely, just in time. However, for the rocks clashed together again, the extreme end of the stern ornament was shorn off. By so little they escaped destruction, but ever since they passed them, the rocks have been rooted fast to each other and have never any more brought disaster to sailors. Nor, not far from here, there was the country of the warrior women, the Amazons, the daughters, strangely enough, of the most peace-loving nymph, Sweet Harmony. But their father was Ares, the terrible god of war, whose ways they followed and not their mother's. The heroes would gladly have halted and closed in battle with them, and it would not have been a battle without bloodshed, for the Amazons were not gentle foes. But the wind was favorable, and they hurried on. They caught a glimpse of the Colchis as they spied past, and of Prometheus on the rock high above them. As they heard the fanning of the eagle's huge wings as it started down to its bloody feast, they stopped for nothing, and the same day at sunset they reached Colchis, the country of the Golden Fleece. They spent the night facing they knew not what, and feeling that there was no help for them anywhere except in their own valor. Up in Olympus, however, a consultation was being held for them. Hera, troubled at the danger they were in, went to ask Aphrodite's help. The goddess of love was surprised at the visit, for Hera was no friend of hers. Still, when the great queen of Olympus begged for her aid, she was awed and promised to do all she could. Together they planned that Aphrodite's son, Cupid, should make the daughter of the Colchis king fall in love with Jason. That was an excellent plan for Jason. The maiden, who was named Medea, knew how to work her very powerful magic, and her dark knowledge, and could undoubtedly save the Argonauts if she would use her dark knowledge for them. So Aphrodite went to Cupid and told him she would give him a lovely plaything, a bull of shining gold and deep blue enamel, if he would do what she wanted. He was delighted, seized his bow and quiver, and swept down from Olympus through the vast expanse of air to Colchis. Meantime, the heroes had started for the city to ask the king for the Golden Fleece. They were safe from any trouble on their way, for Hera wrapped them in a thick mist so that they reached the palace unseen. It dissolved when they approached the entrance, and the warders, quick to notice the kind of splendid young strangers, led them courteously within and sent word to the king of their arrival. We'll go ahead and end this episode there. So yeah, we are starting to see really see the effects of the gods on the journey itself. We've seen Zeus with the harpies, but he sent word through a messenger. He's like, look, don't hurt my harpies, the hounds of me. The old man shall not be plagued anymore. And so, with this, he was saved. He feasted. The heroes feasted. Hercules was lost early. He didn't die or anything. It's just, he was enraged. And went searching for, his armor bearer. A man he truly cared for. And it's like, I shall not leave him be, but, his armor bearer had been swept under by a very smitten water nymph. So he was seen no more. But yeah, um, Hera has been doing her best to help Jason and his crew go through safely. She even enlists the aid of Aphrodite, who does agree. And she sends Cupid, says, I need you to do a love mission. Make the king of Colchis' daughter, the princess of Colchis, fall in love with Jason. But she is very good at the abilities of witchcraft and such. So, yeah. So, we're getting to some of the good parts. They're now where they need to be, but it's going to be the attempts to capture the actual fleece and bring it back. But yeah, I apologize for the broken reading on this episode. For some reason, I could not. It's like my ability to see was struggled. I really did struggle with it. I'm like, because just sometimes I couldn't read the words. The girl's name was Hypsipyle or Hypsipyle. Hypsipyle. It's like, okay. They managed to avoid the island of the Amazons, so they didn't engage in any battle. But yeah. But that will be the end of this episode. As always, educate thyself. Think, read, study, learn. Someone tells you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all in the next episode. Until then, later.